Happy Monday, everybody. Welcome back to AC 165 Radio. This is your host, Dean. And we have the voice of Area Code 165. Beautiful, beautiful Monday. It's raining a little bit here, but it's beautiful outside now. The sun is shining, the birds are out, and I hope it's beautiful where you are. And it's a new week. Tomorrow starts a new month, so we're excited. We're setting the atmosphere today for the whole week. And actually, we're going to be setting the atmosphere today for the whole month because April, we had dedicated the month to being limitless. It was a limitless month, and we took a lot of things off, right? We expanded our borders, we extended our boundaries. We changed some things. We took some masks off, and we learned about being authentic, and we learned about being transparent and vulnerable in certain instances, not always. You don't want to be too free in giving information where it's not necessary because it can be taken wrong, and we don't want things to come back on us unnecessarily. We want to avoid hurt, but we want to be transparent. We want to be candid, and we wanted to also, and we did that, create an atmosphere for the people in our lives to be authentic and to be transparent. And we did that last Wednesday. And Friday, we let some things go. We did a different type of Free Your Mind Friday. We reflected on our relationships, and we reflected on what those relationships mean, and we basically concentrated on the negative relationships. And we freed ourselves from that. I hope you guys did that exercise. If you did not, or if you didn't listen to the show, you can go back and listen to the show on Friday. Basically what we did is we just told people how we felt, not to their face. But we told people how they felt. I personally did it, and it was wonderful. I felt so liberated because not necessarily did I have to deal with people who I needed to take out of my life because I've done that already. I've come into a process of being a weeder. And I've learned to understand, and I've come to understand that, life is a story. And certain characters don't take it, or they're not going to be with me to the end of my story, okay? Certain people won't be there. Some people are going to go away and they're going to come back, okay? But for this time that I'm in right now, for the present, I have to be a responsible gatekeeper of my atmosphere and decide who is necessary and who's not, who's being a hindrance, okay? There's some people in our lives, they, really, they're not a hindrance. They don't help us. They're not a promoter, but, they're just there. Those people are fine. But I'm talking about the people who constantly are negative and constantly are bringing you down, bringing up your past, bringing up, you're trying to grow. We've been growing this whole year, but they're still stuck in last year, and they want you to come back to last year. They don't like the new you. They don't like the changes you've made. They're not happy, and they're not ready to make any changes themselves. They want you to be the person that you were last year or the year before. And those people, we have to let them go if they become too big of a hindrance. If they're constantly trying to pull us back, we have to let them go. And eventually, one of the things that I've learned is eventually those people are going to get there. Okay? They're going to get there, not all of them. Eventually they'll get there. It may be a couple years down the line, but they're still looking at you and seeing how far you go. But this weekend, what I had to do, I had to talk to some people that basically operate, in last year's mentality. And I had to say some things, I had to release some things, because basically what I've been doing is biting my tongue. They're not negative towards me, and they're not trying to keep me in the past, but they're not moving forward, okay? They're not moving forward in their thinking. And they say things, and they act a certain way or whatever, and I bite my tongue and I don't say anything. But those are the people that I had to address. Okay, and I had to determine in my mind, if I'm going to be authentic and I'm going to be candid, then I'm going to have to stop biting my tongue in certain situations. Now, I don't want to be hurtful to people, and I don't want to be condescending to people or judgmental. So you have to pick your battles, and you have to pick when to say something and when not to say something, okay? And you also have to carry yourself in a certain way. When you create that atmosphere for authenticity and transparency, the steps that we use, you can use those steps to create an atmosphere for whatever is necessary in your atmosphere, positivity, what have you, encouragement, love, joy, what have you. And by being a responsible gatekeeper and making sure that I am setting that atmosphere, okay, that's going to allow people to see that I'm, that who I am, that I'm being real about what my changes that I've made in my life. And then they're going to make the decision as to whether or not they want to remain in my sphere or they want to move out. It's going to be their choice, okay? Because they're either going to be comfortable and they're going to grow with me, or they're going to be uncomfortable and they're going to leave, all right? So some people, everybody you don't have to put out. Some people are going to leave, but you just don't hang on to it. If it's time for them to go, let them go. Okay? And we did all that to get to this point. Today is April 30th. And this is the last day of being limitless. We're preparing ourselves for May, which is a month of freedom. And tomorrow, we've dedicated to a Universal Day of Grace. I want to thank everybody who's participating in that. It's going to be fun. It's something we're going to do every year. And we're actually going to extend grace. But before we can extend anything to anybody else, we have to be in that place. Okay? You can't love people if you don't love yourself. All right? If you don't forgive yourself, you can't forgive. It's hard to forgive other people. All right? You can't expect people to be joyful and be positive towards you if you're not being joyful and positive. Okay? That's just how it works. So before we can extend grace, we had to get to a place where we can, number one, receive grace, and number two, where we can fully extend it. And we did that by releasing some things and by growing. You have to grow. You have to find out what's important. And this entire month, I found out what's important. And I looked at some relationships, and I've looked at some situations, and I decided what I needed to extend grace to. And grace is basically a pardon, okay? A pardon from a debt, a pardon from a bad word, a pardon from a relationship, okay? Because it's going to free you up, and it's also going to free up the other person. And that's what we're doing for the month of May. We're walking in freedom. And freedom it's a funny word, because a lot of us don't fully understand it. We understand slavery. We understand freedom in the sense of, slave ownership. When someone says freedom, you automatically think of slavery. We think of that. But freedom is much more than that. Freedom is not limited to a physical thing. It's not limited to the release of physical chains. Okay? Freedom has to come from within inside of you. Some of us don't even know that we're in bondage. Some people think we're totally free. Oh, I'm totally free. I don't have anything. But that's not actually true. So we're looking at freedom in the wrong sense of the word. We're thinking of someone holding us captive or holding us hostage, or something holding us hostage. And that's not necessarily the case. Freedom means to be free from restraint. But it also means to be free from subjection. Let's look at slavery. Look at the definition of slavery. Because slavery is the opposite of freedom. And since we understand slavery better, it will be better to look at the definition of slavery. Now, slavery, of course, is the state of bound, one bound in servitude. But it is also the state or condition of being in a civil relationship whereby one person has absolute power over another and controls his or her life, liberty, and fortune. The subjection of a person to another person, as in being forced to work. The condition of being subject to some influence or habit. Okay? Being subject to some influence or habit. Some of us are a slave to habits. And I'm not talking about vices. Because there are people who are a slave to drugs, alcohol, nicotine, whatever. food, okay? But some of us, the majority of us, are slaves to our thoughts. We're slaves to who we are, who we think we are. And that's why we did that exercise earlier in the month about letting go of who you think people think you are. Okay? Because some of us are a slave to that. Some of us cannot move forward because of the buts, the what ifs, the I can'ts. And being limitless this month, we took that little 3-letter word, the but, out of it. We took but out of our vocabulary. Okay? I would do this, but. I could do this, but. I can do this, but. You know? So, but, even though it's a very small word, is a very powerful word. And it creates limits. And some of us are a slave to our own thinking. And that slavery comes in from the bond, from the slave master called fear. Fear is a slave master. Fear is the biggest slave master. And a lot of us, and the reason why I call it a slave master is because I want you to make it tangible. Okay? Slavery is an enemy. Fear is an enemy. It's a thing. It's a person. Actually, one of the definitions is the person of slavery. Slavery is a person. Fear is a person in itself. Okay? And I call it your slave master, our slave master, not just yours, mine too. Fear as our slave master, because we allow it. We become subjective to it. We become subjects of fear. In our jobs, in our relationships, we have fear of failure, fear of moving to the future, fear of being imperfect, fear of people finding out, fear of not being good enough. We have fear of being left alone, fear of loss, and fear of change. But what did we do all this month? We became limitless. And didn't we just take the limits off of all of that? Fear of the future. We're moving forward in our future. We're excited about our future. Okay. Fear of failure. There's no fear of failure here. What did we learn this month about being limitless? We can't succeed unless we try. Okay. Fear of being imperfect. That's how we become authentic and we become transparent. We don't allow the fear of what we think people think about us, or even what people do think about us, or what people say, dictate who we are. Fear of being found out. Again, transparency and being authentic. Fear of not being enough. We've conquered that fear. Fear of abandonment. We've conquered that. We've learned this month. People are part of the story. Some people are going to be with us forever, and some people aren't. Fear of loss and control. We got rid of that fear too. Because we are being responsible gatekeepers of our atmosphere. And fear of change. We're expecting change. Every week, every month is a new atmosphere. It's a new season. So we expect change. So we don't have that fear anymore. Think about it. Think about everything that we've talked about this month. We took the limits off of everything. So now we don't have that slave master fear holding us captive to our thoughts. So now we can walk in freedom. The one thing that keeps a slave in slavery is the fact that they continue to think they're a slave. There's a country in Africa, actually, yes, a country in Africa, where slavery has been abolished. But people there still live in these slave villages, and they still work for slave masters. And the people don't know that they don't have to be slaves. Some of them don't know how to operate any other way. Some of them have come out of it. There's different human rights activists that are former slave owners in that country that are going in and freeing people, even in this country. The Emancipation Proclamation was signed 2 years later. Some people just found out about it, okay? Some people don't know they're free until you tell them. Guess what? You're free. So I'm telling you, you're free, okay? You are free from fear of the future, free from fear of failure, free from fear of imperfection, free of fear from being found out, free of fear for not being enough, free of fear from abandonment, free of fear from loss, and free from the fear of change. You are free. Fear is no longer your slave master, okay? Some of us need to be told that. You are free. So now you have all this freedom. What you going to do with it? Don't worry, we're going to be talking about freedom all month. And we're going to go through each one of these. But we're going to talk about freedom all month. We are not going to go back to the past. We're not going to dredge up fear. We're just going to walk in freedom. You're limitless now. You know how to be limitless. You know how to push the envelope. You know how to go further. You know how to go farther. And you are free. So now, tomorrow, when we extend grace, you can do it freely. You can extend grace to individuals who have hurt you because you don't have fear of them anymore. See, a lot of times we don't want to forgive someone who has hurt us because we are afraid they are right. See? My grandma used to say, a hit dog always howls. And that means, when you hit somebody with something, you hit them with a word, or you hit them with a truth that they've been thinking about themselves or hiding, it hurts deep. Somebody calls you a liar. And it hurts because you know that you've lied. Somebody calls you a cheater. It hurts because you know you cheated. 9 times out of 10, if somebody calls you a name or hits you with some words that are not you, it doesn't hurt you that deep. Okay? So we don't have that fear of being found out anymore. We're going to be us. That's what we're going to do this month. When I talk about freedom, I'm not talking about free to do whatever you want to the point that it infringes on somebody else's freedom. No. I'm talking about walking in freedom and being who you are and not giving a rat's butt who accepts you or who doesn't. Because we don't have a fear of abandonment anymore. We know how to put people out, don't we? We know how to meet new people. And we're not afraid of change. We're expecting change. So we don't have any problems with that. So we're going to be us. We're going to be us. When I first started the show, one of the things that motivated me to do this format was the media and society dictating to people what they like, what they should wear, what's in style, what's out of style. If I still want to wear sneakers and baggy pants, I can. I don't have to wear skinny jeans. You know what I mean? But we have been subjected and become subjects to the media and societal thoughts. And this month, we're going to throw that stuff straight to the wind. We're going to be who we want to be. We're going to wear what we want to wear. We're going to think what we want to think. We're going to like what we want to like, We're no more telling people, telling me what I like. No more telling me what I should buy. Okay? And that's the main reason why people are so wrapped up in the lives of celebrities. That was another thing that motivated me with this show is because I see people know more about what's going on in a celebrity's life than they know about their own children. They spend more time on the internet and on TV finding out what this person said. I was in the store one day, and I heard this young lady, beautiful girl, tall, gorgeous, And it was a small drugstore, and we were in the same area. And I heard her talking for at least 20 minutes about a celebrity. Oh, no, so-and-so this and so. And I caught myself doing that. I'm like, what the heck am I talking about? These people don't know me. I don't really care if I ever meet them. Why are they a part of my life and my conversation? You know, you're missing out on things that are in front of you if you're wrapped up in somebody else's life. Okay? So we're not going to be doing that. We're going to be wrapped up in our own lives, in our own atmosphere, because we've got some work to do. You know, all of these things, even being limitless is a process. Walking in freedom is a process. Okay? And there's a lot of things that are going to be coming up that we need to make sure we are clear about. The elections are coming up. You know, that's going to be a mess. And I just have to say, I saw some of the articles, I didn't read all of them, about the presidential, the White House Correspondents' Dinner, and I'm sorry, it was way too many celebrities at that thing. It just made me uneasy. And I'm like, God, this whole showbiz thing has really taken over the United States. But anyway, there's a lot of stuff that's going to be coming on, and we're going to be hit with all that stuff. But we have to be clear, and we have to be transparent, and we have to be authentic so we can make wise decisions. We don't want to make decisions about voting and about issues based on media propaganda and hype. We want to be clear in what we want and what we like and who we are so that we can make informed decisions to make a vote that fully reflects us, not the popular opinion. Okay, and I'm not one way or the other. All right? Not one way or the other. But I want you to be clear. I don't care if you're Democrat, Republican, Independent, or what have you. You need to make a decision on your votes based on who you are and what reflects you and what you want. Not on what your favorite celebrity wants, and not on what your pastor wants or your neighbor. Okay? You may have some conservative values, but you may not fully agree with all of the things that some of the conservatives are saying. You may have libertarian values, but you may not agree with everything that some of the libertarians are saying. So you have to be clear with who you are and make that decision. Okay? And if you are a liberal and you agree with a conservative, vote conservative. If you're conservative and you agree with the liberal, vote for the liberal. Don't just go with the bandwagon or with the party just because you're part of that party. I had to break myself with that. And it allows me to be free. Okay, it allows me to be free. In fact, I am independent. So I had to make that choice because I'm like, I'm not going one way or the other. I'm not falling subject to a herd. All right, but I am liberal. I have liberal values and I have conservative values. Depends on what it is. But I vote based on how I feel and what reflects me. Okay, so I just want to put that out there. So this month, that's what we're going to be doing. But tomorrow, Universal Day of Grace, you can go to causes.com. Okay, you can join, take a pledge. And we're also going to be doing a show tomorrow. It's going to be a little bit earlier than this show, but than our regularly scheduled show. But we're going to be talking about grace and how to extend grace and giving you some ideas. You guys can call in and talk about what you plan on doing or what you've done already. But the purpose of the Universal Day of Grace is to take a break and to give yourself a reprieve from all the tension. We're holding on to stuff that we don't need to hold on to. We're holding on to people that we don't need to hold on to. All right? We need to let some things go. And the only way we can do that is to extend grace into the situation. Okay? The Trayvon Martin case, there's a lot of people who are still in uproar, still hurting about that. The man has been arrested, and he has a right to go through the court proceedings. Okay? But some people are just, they're threatening to kill this man. It's gotten that deep. You got to step back, and you got to let go and let the system work. You can't harbor all of that. So the Universal Day of Grace is not only designed and was a purpose to give people pardons, but it was also designed and purpose to give you a break from all of that mental wear and tear that's holding you down, because you can't walk in freedom until you let some stuff go. All right? So that's what we're doing tomorrow. It's all day. There's no special place you have to be. And basically all we're going to be doing, like I said, is extending grace to people and extending grace to situations. And some people you can tell them, you know. Some people you don't have to. Just purpose it in your mind. All right? I forgive that person. Okay? Because some of you guys are mad at people, they don't even know you're mad at them. They don't even know. All right? So we're going to be doing that tomorrow. And I'm very excited about May. I just feel there's a lot of change, a lot of freedom in May. And it's a big turnaround. But we don't have a fear of change, right? We're limitless. And just because April is over doesn't mean we're going to stop being limitless. Like I said, it's a process. We're going to still be limitless. But we are going to be limitless and free. And we don't have a fear of change, right? So we're ready for the change that May is going to bring. All right, I'm going to get out of here. You guys have an amazing Monday, an amazing start of the week, and walk in freedom. You are free. You're free. You're free from fear. Slave, you are no longer a slave to fear. You are no longer a slave to being imperfect, a slave to fear of the future, slave to the fear of abandonment. You are no longer a slave. Fear is no longer your slave master. You are free. I just want to tell you that. So let's get ready to walk in freedom, right? You guys, like I said, have a great day. Enjoy your Monday. Walk in freedom. Hold your head up high and know, hey, I'm free. I'm free. All right? And we'll see you guys here tomorrow. I think we're going to do a show at like 10. So get ready for that. And if I don't talk to you tomorrow, I'll talk to you on Wednesday. But as I say, every afternoon before I get out of here, free your mind, relax your mind. Put plenty of rest so you can dream in big, bright, beautiful colors and look for your rainbow in the morning. I'm Steen. I'm out of here. I will see you guys back here tomorrow. Have an amazing and a freedom-filled